We are joined by the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He was the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator for the past 2 years. He's also been an assistant coach with Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and San Francisco previously, as well as the head coach of Boston College for 4 years from 2020 to 2023. Our guest is Jeff Hafley. Jeff, really appreciate you coming on the program. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jim?
Good, dude. Good. I got a better question for you. Being that we have a home in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, my wife is there right now. It is a balmy 6 degrees. How pumped are you to be in South Florida?
Well, yeah, I'm really excited. Other than my family's still in Green Bay, it's nice to walk out the door and not need a winter coat, winter hat, and gloves. And it's nice that it's not minus 17, so it's great.
That is a good thing. All right, so let me ask you this. The Dolphins were not the only team that you met with regarding the head coaching vacancy. So what was it about this franchise that made you want to lock in on this opportunity?
It was the people. On the Zoom interview, I had a good feel for Mr. Ross and everybody who was on that. And then it was the alignment with the GM, John Eric Sullivan. Sully and I worked together in Green Bay the past 2 years, had a really good working relationship, watched film together, watched draft film together. And for me, it was always going to be if I had an opportunity to do this, the alignment key was always going to be probably the number one priority because I've been in places where I've seen it not aligned and it doesn't work. So this is a really good place for me with the people and with John Eric.
Jeff Hafley joining us. It's really interesting you said alignment and used that word because watching the Buffalo Bills presser yesterday, they hammered that. It was like alignment, alignment, alignment. It seems kind of self-evident, but when you talk about alignment between a coach and a GM, what are you talking about specifically?
Well, not being afraid to have hard conversations, whether it's in the draft and him and I have a disagreement and being able to have input, being able to work through it together, or whether he has input on a player we might want to play or a position that he should play. You just want to have each other's backs because things are going to get hard, right? We're going to face adversity and you need someone that has your back and vice versa when you hit that adversity to work through it. And I think that's the key to this whole start as we build our foundation. We've got to be able to communicate and we've got to be able to work together regardless of who's in charge of what.
Hey, Jeff, I don't know if I'll take a shot. I don't know if you'll tell me this, but in terms of like the alignment, how does that work in terms of, because you just said something, triggered something with me. Like if the GM is telling you to play a guy when you might not want to play a guy, or what about player procurement, right? Like how is this divvied up in terms of who has the final say on these things?
Well, when it's the final say to who's going to play, that's going to be myself and the staff. And when it's the final say on picking a player, that's going to be him and his staff. But what I'm trying to say and get across is I want input on my end and he wants input on his end because we got to pick players that, we feel fit in our scheme. And if he sees a player could help fit in the scheme better, I want him to communicate. So I just think there's got to be a relationship there where you're not afraid to have the hard conversation. And if you do that, I think good things are going to happen.
Message received, Coach. I see you working. I understand what you're talking about, man. Communication is key across the board. Jeff Hafley joining us. Hey, Jeff, I'm curious. You spent the last 2 years working with Matt LaFleur, who had one of the best winning percentages in all of football, has it. But you have plenty of experience yourself. But regarding your time in Green Bay specifically, what's your biggest takeaway? Like, what will you take away from your time there that might help you here?
I took away a lot. Matt, to me, is one of the best head coaches in the NFL. And he's created such a standard and he holds everybody to that standard and he holds everybody accountable. He always talks about the standard you walk by is the standard you set. And he doesn't walk by anything and he doesn't allow our coaches to walk by anything. And I think that's so important and it creates such a good working environment and allows those players to be pushed every single day. And he's probably one of the best I've seen do that and probably doesn't get enough credit for it.
We're talking to Jeff Hafley, the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Hey, Jeff, what about the offense and some of your personnel? Tua Tagovailoa, for instance, benched for the final 3 games of the season. In speaking to him, how would you describe his headspace right now? And then secondarily, how are you going to approach the quarterback position yourself?
Well, there'll be competition, whether or not we'll discuss that right now. Obviously, that's a hot topic. But I had a good conversation with Tua. He's on vacation right now with his family, and we talked about a lot of things. But ultimately, this is going to come down to who we believe gives us the best chance to win, start this new era, and build this foundation with us.
All right, so what I'm hearing, though, just to confirm, there's going to be a competition for that job.
There has to be. There has to be a competition for every job right now, and that's what this is going to be built on. I think the more competition you have, the better you push guys, the better they get. And as much as we can create that competition, it's something we have to do.
I got you. Jeff Hafley joining us. What about your offensive coordinator position? You stayed in-house for that. Bobby Slowick is going to get that position. Why did you decide to go with Bobby to be your play caller? What do you like about the way he approaches it?
Well, Bobby and I were in San Francisco together. When I was a defensive back coach with Kyle Shanahan, he was a defensive quality control coach. So we spent a lot of time talking football together. I spent a lot of time getting to know him. I think it's important to have a good relationship with people and people that you trust and people that will treat people the right way. So for number one, he's a phenomenal human and he treats people the right way. He commands respect of his players. And then what he did, he went over to the offensive side of the ball. You know, Kyle likes to kind of poach the smart guys and bring them over to teach offense too. So he spent all that time with Kyle learning his scheme. And then he went to Houston, called it, had some success, went to 2 playoff games, coached the quarterback to be the rookie of the year. I got to coach against him during that time. We've stayed in touch. And I've always had a really good relationship with him and always respected him as a coach. I love the scheme. I love the pedigree. I love the person. And I just love the way he approaches things. So I interviewed a bunch of people and just felt most comfortable with him.
Jeff Hafley joining us. You mentioned Kyle. Hey, Jeff, what is it about Kyle? Like Kyle's Kyle. Kyle is the standard. In your mind, because you've been around the best of the best, what makes Kyle Kyle? What makes him such an outlier? Why is he so good?
He sees the game so well. He understands defense. He understands holes and schemes. He understands the defensive rules so he can attack them. And everything is really calculated with Kyle. He runs plays to set up his next play. He might run 3 plays. He knows they're not going to go for very much, but he's doing it to set up the explosives that are going to go for more and score points. And then he's really demanding of his coaches. He holds people to accountable. He gets the most out of his coaches and his players as well. I think he trains the quarterback really well. And he's had success, and it was really a good deal for me to be with him for those years. And then obviously I got to coach against him last year as well, and we've stayed in touch. But he's one of the best play callers in this league.
All right, so Jeff, the guys that I've mentioned who know your background know that you and I might talk about these guys, but there's somebody else I want to ask you about who I love. This is a big Dave Wanstead house. I love Dave Wanstead. I love that guy. He coached the Dolphins for 5 years. How much of a mentor has he been for you since you worked for him at Pitt as an assistant back in 2006 to 2010? And then what sort of advice did he give you for this particular coaching cycle?
Dave's probably my biggest mentor. I mean, Dave hired me to be GA, hired me at 26 years old to be the defensive backs coach at Pitt. And I've stayed in touch with him every step of the way. We were in Tampa together. And then, I talked to Dave today for about a half hour. I probably talked to him once a week during the season. He's always checking in on me, always asking how me and my family are doing. When we played Chicago this year, I went and I had dinner with him and Jan in his apartment. And just for this job, he's kind of just checking in, seeing how I'm doing. Do you need any help with this? How's your coaching staff coming? I really think you should do it this way. Make sure you look out for this. I mean, it's just constant. And to see a guy that really changed my life and my family's life to still want to be involved, I'm gonna lean on him, but he is my biggest mentor.
Yeah, I love hearing that. He's a dude, man. He is a good dude. So Jeff, before you go, it's kind of your background's interesting, and the journey's so interesting in the sense that there's no direct route. Everybody takes a different route. So it's kind of rare what I'm getting at for a college coach in a Power 4 conference to step down and become an NFL assistant. When you left Boston College in 2023, was it a tactical move designed to put you in a position where, well, frankly, we could have this conversation today, or were you looking for something different? What was your mindset back then?
Well, I think it was both. When I left the NFL to go to Ohio State to be the coordinator, I wanted to call plays, and I had that opportunity, and it was great. I mean, college football was pure. There was no portal. There was no NIL. And the same thing when I started at Boston College. It was just a bunch of tough, gritty guys doing everything right, going to class, playing football, competing. And then when the portal and NIL hit, it just changed the job. It changed everything that I was doing. And I really missed coaching football. And then the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to be a head coach, but I started wanting to be an NFL head coach. So when Matt gave me a call, it was really hard to leave the staff, hard to leave the players. But it was time. And I thought, you know what, if I kind of bet on myself and have some success, maybe I can be an NFL head coach. So I took that chance, and I guess you could say 2 years later, it turned out pretty good.
It did. I've got to take, Jeff, I'm just going to give you this kind of unsolicited take on my own about you. I think that you're tough. I think you're intense. I think that you're focused. I think you're locked in. But I think you do have a schematic advantage. I think you have a schematic advantage over your peers. It is your impeccable sock game. Look at these things. Look at these things. Let me see them. Look at that. Are those your daughters? Are those your daughters, and when do you break those out?
Those are my daughters. Every Father's Day, I get a new pair with updated pictures and the colors. My two kids and my wife mean everything to me, so I always wear them. I wear them into the stadium game day. It keeps me grounded. It reminds me of what's the most important thing in the whole world to me, and it just kind of puts me in a really good place. So I figured, I'd wear them at the press conference for the same thing as a reminder. It's always a reminder that there will be nothing more important to me than my family, and it all starts from the ground up. So it's important to me.
Perspective. I love it. One last thought. You've been great with your time. I appreciate you. So you joined a division that the Patriots won this past season, and they'll be in the Super Bowl. You know the area so well. You know Boston. You know New England. So what kind of thoughts do you have about that? Okay. What kind of thoughts do you have about the Pats transformation? And then how do you see the Super Bowl matchup?
Well, I think Coach Vrabel has done such a good job. And, I got a chance to coach his son at Boston College. I got a chance to meet him. He'd call in for advice. He'd show up to games. And I'm not surprised what he's been able to do. I think it will be a great game. I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm excited to finally take a deep breath, kick back, and watch it. And, I hope both teams play really well. Obviously, Seattle staff has done such a good job. McDonald's done an awesome job. Two really good teams. And, I'm just happy. I'm looking forward to watching a good game.
I love the game, and I love that you've got two defensive-minded head coaches in that game. Jeff Hafley is the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Jeff, I really appreciate you. Thanks for taking so much time. Thanks for coming on the program. I hope it's not the last time we do it. Really good to talk to you.
Sounds good, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
All right, you got it. Appreciate it, Coach. Jeff Hafley. I like that. That's good. It's a good conversation. Really good conversation.